As my friend from Washington, Mr. Baumgartner.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for holding such an important hearing. Higher education is truly one of the gems of American society in the way it creates social mobility, innovation that fuels our economy, and research that advances our family farms. But it is a jewel that has become tarnished in recent years with runaway costs and a growing leftist political agenda that has replaced the skills needed for the American job market with a radical and sometimes Marxist political ideology on college campus. So we certainly have a lot of work to do to polish this gem, and I salute the big, beautiful bill and the work of this committee for doing some of that important polishing earlier this year. I am the son of a university professor and grew up in a college town. After attending Washington State University, I went to Africa and spent a year as a volunteer teaching at Catholic University in Mozambique, and then went to Harvard for a master's degree where I was also a teaching fellow and taught some Harvard undergrads. And while a state senator, I spent a little bit of time teaching at Sciences Po University, a counterinsurgency course at Sciences Po University in Paris, which is sometimes referred to as the Harvard of France. And so I've had a wide variety of experiences in higher education, would not consider myself an expert, have had a wide variety. And what I've come to conclude is there's not a lot of difference in undergraduate education outside of the will of students to work, that they can get a great education at really any institution if they have high standards and a culture of education. And that is why it is so distressing to me we have these mounting student debt loads across the country, because we are taking away students' freedoms and their families' freedoms with all of this debt that has been piled on to college education that really does not serve an educational purpose. When I was in the Washington State Legislature, the Democrats, unusual for Washington State, Republicans actually had control of the Senate. When I got there, we won some elections and had good members and did smart things and not stupid things. And we took the majority. And what happened with the Democrats when they were running the Washington State Legislature is they had paid a lot of lip service to higher ed. It was always their fourth or fifth favorite priority. But what they had really done is defunded higher education and used those funds to expand social welfare services in health care, give state employees across the board big pay increases, and move this money out of higher education and then look to students to backfill with increasing debt burdens. So when Republicans took control, one of the things I said is we got to color in big, bright, big, beautiful lines like Ronald Reagan and said to do, and let's actually reduce the cost of college tuition. So I helped Republicans, and one of my colleagues, John Braun, was a state senator there working with me, ran the bill. We reduced the price of college in Washington State by 20% at our regional universities and 15% at our flagships, then backfilled the universities. In part, we could do that because we could do things in higher ed for pennies on the dollar compared to K through 12. And I always argued, it's hard for Republicans to win a spending war with the Democrats and the teachers union on K through 12. But when we did that, we dropped the price by mandate, and then we locked future costs of college to inflation plus population growth, and said, universities, this is the structure you have to work within, because I see no reason why higher education costs need to go up higher than inflation plus population. So frankly, they should be lower because they already have a lot of infrastructure. So that would be one idea. I also think that we should always articulate that the right price for college is the price that every student should get through with no debt. And by that, I don't mean that it should be subsidized. We need to have the taxpayers to do this. But the right price for college ought to be incentivizing work for a reasonable summer job and part-time work so that people can work their way through college. And I think that should be our North Star in what the price of the college should be, that there's an expectation that students are going to work. And that doesn't mean every student gets to go to Mazatlan on spring break and have 3 Starbucks Frappuccinos a day and live this Kim Kardashian lifestyle that they see on social media. It means that you go to your local college or community college, you work, and you get through college with zero debt. And I really think that's something that Republicans and Democrats can unify on. I think part of the recipe has to be forcing the colleges to, like the administration is doing, to get back to the basics, and I salute that. And some of it needs to be not allowing so much predatory lending, which has gone on, the federal government has facilitated through these debt loads. But if we can just get back to the basics of a streamlined undergraduate model that focuses on core competencies that the government wants, and isn't always about climbing walls and ice rinks and keeping up with the Kardashians, social media nonsense, and just get back. We can repolish this gem, and I think in a way that Republicans and Democrats can work together. So I salute the good work of this committee hearing, and I'm out of time now after my little soliloquy here, but would enjoy discussing with each of you this idea, particularly the North Star of what the price should be and whether we can keep college tuition growth underneath inflation plus population like Republicans did in the Washington State Legislature. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and with that I yield back.
Thank you so much. I'd like to now recognize my friend from Pennsylvania, Ms. McKenzie.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and appreciate all the panelists being with us here today. I represent the Lehigh Valley and Pennsylvania region that has a tremendous